Okay, right into the deepest end of the topics here. Nobody can be everything to everybody, right? Sometimes you're just not the right person, right place, or right time. Okay. So the question is, how do I get people to listen to me when I say I'm not the one? I'm not the right person for that. Because also, I have a hard time not stepping up and doing a job, doing a thing. But here, the good part of this.
That was so hard when I was single, telling all the girls I was dating that I wasn't the one.
You know how many girls I dated, Joe? Not 51st dates like you, just say. So, yeah, I'm not the one. Smack. Get out of here. Hit her with the Bible. I don't know. Why are you so violent to women, Joe? I don't understand. Kelsey, blink if you're not safe. Okay. But how do I guess the real question is how I get myself to understand I'm not always the one. Now, here's how I tell the story. Recently, like right before New Year's, I got told in a great way I'm getting repositioned. I was chief of operations for Trinity EMS and built a great company, but it's been a struggle in the last year. And some of the Patreon heard it. Joe's heard a little bit of it. But I never wanted a desk. I never said in my life, man, I would love to run an ambulance company. Right place, right time. And I was the right person in the moment to take it from what it was to what it is. And in that path, met the right person to build One EMS and take my digital media career not just up, but into a very important venue that is still important to me, mixing both worlds. So all that built up to right person did come along who is a surgeon when it comes to operations. I mean, they went to school for this. Their desire was to run an ambulance company. They are the one. And it's been a little bit rough, but in this transition of everything, people don't listen to me. I'm telling them all the time, I believe in you, but let me tell you, the biggest principles you can live by in any job is what you do is not who you are, but understanding who you are will change everything you do so that you are who you are in every job you go to. Do not be loyal to a company. Companies are machines. Machines go broke, things change. You don't, it's a company. Work with the people you work, value for value, all that stuff. But if you bring yourself to the table, you can walk out of any job learning something and having walked out going, I left me and hopefully a better me than I walked in. That's one principle. The other principle is at any given job is simple. It's either yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, or it's been a great day working here. Thank you, but it's not for me anymore. And if you just live by those, the changes come. You're okay. Am I going with the change or where am I going? And so things had built to a part where I'd gotten it to as far as I could have gotten it in that position. And my position now with that company, it's actually with both Life Care and Trinity, is Chief Technical Officer. Oh, what? Charles does tech? Yeah. Surprise everybody. So that and Chief Administrative Officer, because I know how
dual title.
Works.
You're just like, right. I'm double the officer, baby. Respect the authority.
Respect my authority. So, but throughout all this, I'm telling people, and I only know how to be me, Joe. And so that means I am the coach. I expect how we've worked together so well these many years is that's what I expect. I expect you to be an adult. You said you wanted to be here. Be here. Here's the work you said you take on. Cool. We're partnered. We talk to each other like human beings. Done. Easy. It makes it so easy. No drama. I cannot think of any drama. As much as I try to start on the show, I cannot think of any real drama that we've had between us for any reason other than when you forgot your 12 years a slave and had to put you in your place. That's okay. No, I'm sorry, everybody who doesn't know the backstory. Joe was sold. He didn't realize it. It's a long story. Bad joke. Moving on. But in this transition, like I'm excited because it makes me do for me, because when you're born to do something you're good at, when you're that surgeon in that specialty, so easy. And so everybody's like, oh my, it's like I can breathe. Like, oh my God, man, I'm doing my TikTok videos almost every day and I'm getting stuff done. I'm getting projects cleaned up and, I got this audio edited after like a year to get these new intros and stuff. I'm doing what I love. And man, One EMS is really about to go big because we're in that phase of raising money. We're a 501c3. So we're in that phase of raising money, which will then fully fund my dream to change people's lives and go and speak everywhere. And so that's a very quick overview. However, the how do I part of that is one, how do I go, hey, I'm not really great at this. It's not for me. Watching Overtime Like a Hawk, it's not for me. I'm doing 5 different things. I watched the bobber like you're fishing on the ocean. My bobber is what payroll is, and payroll's been bobbing right in the range it should be. So I think nothing's changing, but it was. And there were some bad numbers. It's not huge, but there was some mess. There was some stuff. And so the new guy coming in who is great, loving to death. The second I saw his resume, like, that's my replacement. This is the guy right here. Let's let him prove himself at another base running it. And man, he's here. He's good. But in that transition, because he is a surgeon, he is cutting things and it's hurting some people who said, this is part of the thing. It's like, man, I was loyal to this company. I thought this company was different. I was like, no. That anger belongs to me, not to the company. You believed in me. And I am that guy who's always saying, I'm encouraging your best you. I'm pushing you here. I'm not saying, hey, you're missing this step. And I could have done that differently. And I feel very badly that I'm landing in roses and they're having heartache tonight. And how do I get people to understand you're not me, and my radioactive infectiousness, my radioactive energy gets people all hyped up. So Joe, long story long, how do I get people to understand they aren't me, they need to be them? And then to listen when I say, you have to make the choices. This is the goals you're going to. I don't know. Do you get it? Do you get it, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, there's times though when it has to be you, at least for a while, and it did have to be you.
Yeah, it did. Absolutely.
And sometimes you've got to make do with a nail when it really ought to have been a screw, or vice versa, whatever.
Sure, I got you. Yeah.
But you when you find something that's the perfect fit, you're doing exactly what you need to in stepping back and saying, look, this will be better for us in the long run, period. I realize there's going to be growing pains, but in the long run, this is going to be what's best for everyone.
It does help in the interim that, like, this literally was not a decision I was involved in at all. Like, I got told, because I went, sorry, I drank a little scotch, now I'm coughing. Brought to you by Scotch and COVID.
Don't evolve into wheezing. You stay coughing.
Oh, by the way, that little Starling video you sent me on Facebook, that was wrong, sir. Or whatever it was. I'll give you a star. You know what I mean? All right. So
inside jokes on podcasts that no one understands.
Everybody hates those, right? You know what's one inside joke? Come join our Discord. Linktree /wise_nerdy. It's free, and you'll get a lot of these jokes and memes. It's cool.
I'll have to link it in there too, so that people will have context for anyone that joins. So
we need somebody to write a parody song of the Toys R Us song. I'm a Toys R Us kid. We did it, but make it something about I'm a nerdy dad. Where dad can be a dad. All right. So I can even tell tonight when so I got summoned to lunch about a week ago, and my partner in one EMS and my boss at this one, he's like, what are your plans for this year? I'm like, dude, that's way too big of a question. We're talking about one EMS. Are we talking about this? Because we were talking about planning one EMS stuff. And he's like, well, let me just rip the Band-Aid. And I could tell by the way he delivered that message and the way today he delivered a message to me, he felt like it was taking away from me, like it was a demotion. He felt bad. I'm like, dude, you basically just took me out of a base and put me on the corporate level, essentially. You put me on, hey, you're going to look at all this stuff. You're going to just answer to me, which has always been the case. You're not going to be responsible for any one little thing, and you and I are going to go change the world. To me, that's a promotion all day long. You put me where I want to be. It's a great thing. But had I been consulted on it, I'd been like, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And I know it's going to crack some eggs, but that's because I taught the wrong lessons. So coach me here, Daddy Joe. What's things I could do better as we go forward to make sure the right people in the right place? Because I didn't have to go as motivationally deep as I did with some of the people, and they took the wrong message and went in the wrong path. I know they're responsible for their choices, but how do I handle this better?
such a broad, like, obviously every situation is going to be different, but in this specific one, I don't know how you could have, to be honest. Like, you reassuring everyone that, like I said before, I guess just reassuring everyone that this person will be the best thing for the company in the long run. Although that might not be reassuring, because what's best for the company might not be what's best for the individual employees.
I've tried to teach that too. Is like, hey, just, good people don't always go where the company's going. Sometimes they go here for a while and they move on to something else. It doesn't mean they're bad people, blah, blah, blah. Retrospect is everything, right? I could have said, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to look at overtime and go, you're not doing, I could have been harder and stiffer, but the reality, I believe, is, for me, I'm not that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I only want to play with the people who want to play on my level. Joe, how many people have we met through Dragon Con? Cool people, fun, entertaining, but somewhere inside of ourselves we went, yeah, this is not somebody we want to create with.
Yes.
that I've got down. So it's kind of adding that principle to the job. And you're right. I needed to be the one until we found the next one. And it was funny, even when he was talking, Brian was talking to me a little bit, he said something. I was like, I'm just glad. I'm very proud that, in June, we had a big hard shift, and I had to get a big paradigm shift inside myself and how I viewed things, and got tougher, got harder, got more focused. Man, right? So I'm glad that I pulled it out of this dive and we ended up on an okay note. And I said to him today, I was like, yeah, man, I'm just glad it didn't end up in, dude, you just borked it and you can't be here anymore. And he goes, no, I would never say that, because we got bigger fish to fry. We're going to change the world. It's like, I know, Brian, which means I can't be here anymore, but not in that function,
Yeah,
but so you're right, Joe.
So you basically made a lateral move.
More or less. Yeah. A freeing move. But like with coding, right? If you're working with a team, you go, okay, you got to do this code, you got to do this code, you got to do this code. It's very, I would assume, cut and dry. Like, hey, this code is wrong, fix it. That's the part I'm not good at. I can see some of it's wrong. I could take the 10 minutes, theoretically, to go read all the code. Oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. What I do is look at 5 different things and go, oh, the code seems to be running okay. Not the greatest, not the best, but it's doing all right. We'll keep tweaking it. You see what I'm saying? And so I just want to get to that point sometime, or maybe I just surround myself with people like you, Joe, where I'm like, Joe, man, this guy's kind of bothering me. Like, yeah, no, I'll go edit his code. Don't worry about it. I don't want to know what that means, Joe, but it's plausible deniability. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, then there's John popping into chat here. He says, I dislike managing people who need managing.
God, John, you nailed it. Yes. And then, Joe, you also, the flip side, I dislike managers who overmanage people.
Oh, yeah. No, my previous manager was horrible when it came to micromanaging. And I've said it on here before. It's all, I guarantee it's just him trying to put bullet points on his resume for his next position. But yeah, my current manager, I actually had a one-on-one meeting with him today, and I told him to his face that I love that he just stays out of the way and lets us get our job done, because he know, like, we know that if we need something, we can come to him and he will be right on top of it. But he also knows that he doesn't need to do anything because we get our job done.
Yeah.
So,
and I want to give this to people who are struggling. I'm not really struggling with it. I was processing it, but if you're struggling with that kind of thing, how do I do better? How do I say I'm not the one, this, and that, other? This is what I said when I own things, because I could tell Brian, it's hard to explain. He's always treated me like a partner, even when most of the time I was an employee, but we just understand each other. We vibe on the same level, and sometimes that's bad. We both have that same belief in helping people, and a lot of times we want it more for somebody else than they want it for themselves. We don't like cutting people. We both kind of want to play on that level. We don't want to manage people who need managing. It should be set up the process, do your job, check in, easy peasy, right? Which I think it will be under the right people. But we're similar that way. But what I did tell him, I was like, I'm not saying I'm sorry, because I didn't do anything wrong. You're not saying I did anything wrong. I am saying, I'm sorry, I gave you ammo to come at me and say you're not doing your job right. And I want you to understand, I never checked out intentionally. I always wanted to do the best job I could, but where I was sitting and what I was seeing, I couldn't see the job I needed to do. And I felt like that resonated with him. It definitely resonated for me because I said it. But that's the thing is, if you're true, and that's what's kept me through fire after fire after fire after fire here. We both knew we have bigger things to do. We both knew we have to get there. We're not sure how. We'll just keep going in the direction we're going in until we figure it out. And we both knew ultimately I was not the specialist. Because I want to be clear, I am not down on myself at all. I had with the new chief, I had to talk to him. And he's like, oh, no, you're guys. Like, no, you don't understand. I'm not good. I'm effing awesome at what I do when I'm supposed to be doing it. I'm just okay at the things that I'm not great at. So I'm not dogging myself, but he's a specialist. That desire versus willingness. I think I actually talked about that on one of my TikToks. But
well, and that makes a huge difference.
It's all the difference.
Just because you're capable of doing a position doesn't mean you want to, and that that comes through in spades. And so that desire is huge.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why you and I work so well together at Dragon Con, because I never feel like with any of the volunteers, and especially because you and I work a lot on our shows and everything else, that it's never a different dynamic. It's never well, I'm your boss now, Joe, go do it. You know who I am. I know who you are. And sometimes I rip off, hey, get that. You're like, got it. Because it's just shorthand. It's not orders, right? And because we don't micromanage, we just know our roles and we work so well together. John says, on the flip, I don't mind training people to manage themselves. And there's nothing more edifying seeing people take off after teaching them how to do something. 1,000%. 1,000%.
And on the double flip side, there's those that you teach them something and they come back to you 10 minutes later and be like, how do you do that? And you're like, this past week, I had to tell someone on a different team that the same thing multiple times, and it wasn't anything complicated. Because for a lot of our systems at my work, we have a test region, a development region, and a production region. But for one of our products that we support, we only have a non-prod, so test and development combined, and a production region. And I told this person multiple times, we only have one non-prod region, and they kept coming back to me asking for Joe is double flip correct. They came back to me multiple times asking the same thing, and I'm like, we only have one non-production region for this product. And I still don't know if they got it. Hopefully they got it, but we'll see. But they were trying to say that there was an issue on our end because their code was working in test, but it wasn't working in develop. And I'm like, then it's your code, because there's literally no difference on our end. We have one non-prod region. But yeah, no, it's some people just don't listen. And there's not a whole lot you can do with people like that. Because it ends up being a waste of your time. It really does.
The biggest mistake humans make is caring. And that is because you said you're not listening. You're not,
caring
you start
about
thinking.
the wrong things.
Exactly. But I say things the way I say it, Joe. Don't go correct me. I'm the non-prod region. Leave me alone. So, but it's because they start thinking, what does this mean for me? Well, I don't understand. Oh, I'm going to look stupid. Oh yeah. If you just take the ego out, I do not care at work. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I've been praised multiple times. Charles has no ego. Go talk to him. You want him to,
who in their right mind would tell you that you have no ego, Mr. Rock God of podcasting?
There's difference in confidence and ego, my friend. Ask Freud. But I don't care, because I can do what I do. I can step back and not do a single show at Dragon Con and have a successful Dragon Con. I knew 15 panels at Dragon Con and have a successful Dragon Con. It's whatever is needed. Like, I'm happily giving up my office. In fact, I'm not giving up my office. We're forcing this new chief into it because he didn't want to step up the blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that office is an anchor. I never wanted that office. That is the operations office. I'll sit out here at the table because I'm going to be here about once or twice a week. So I'm going to another base and then we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Because imagine if Charles got deployed to some non-prod region. Thank you. That's so good, Randy Kid. That is so good. So fast. But that's it. It's what I care about is putting food on the table for my family. So I make sure I'm making enough money and trying to earn it. And then I care about myself. How I'm going to be on stage, what fulfills me, what is right for my life, how to get to that next conference, that next thing, to do what I love. So everything in between is, are you paying me? Okay, sure. Go wash my car. Am I on the clock? Got it. Do you want the wheels done too? I don't care. You're paying me. We're good. And so like, it was like, hey man, he can't work in that office because I'm a loud asshole. Sorry, beep. But yeah, he goes, well, that, and because you draw people to you and people are coming in and out all day and talking to you, and you can work on 5 things and talk to them, but no other normal humans can do that. It's like, no, I got it. Done. And I know he doesn't want it, but it's going to be his because that's part of the show. Because, made that. I'm all about Joe as the show. Because we need everybody to see that shift of power. There is no question. Charles is not at that desk anymore. I love that desk. I picked it out like physically. It's a great desk. It's beautiful. I picked it out. It's a thing. I don't care. I actually care more about what it represents, which is a job that I don't want to do, than I care about that I enjoyed that desk physically. It was a nice desk.
It's the subconscious statement that it makes to the employees.
Yep. And so I am going in on Monday and pulling, and all my stuff is just fuel toys. Like I had giant Batman Funko Pop and some other things I keep in my office, a little bit of scotch. Surprise, surprise. And then, a number of my sound dampening old t-shirts and stuff that I made into sound dampener stuff I just hang up on the walls. And that's it. And then I will be out because you have to, right? They had to. And the whole thing is so many other people will get their butt hurt by that, right? They would get, but then, no, man, I don't care how anybody else sees it. I'm going to my promised land, which is I am now free to go teach and raise money and be the superstar. I can't have a big enough smile. I don't know what to tell you. So hopefully this helps somebody, because I really like to at least do something motivational in each show that we do. And it is a thought that I had. But go ahead, Joe.
With your job change, did your pay change at all, or did it stay the same? It was just a lateral move?
Yeah.
Okay.
It shouldn't go up because it's more of a lateral move than anything else. And so, long story long, Brian and I agree. Brian's the owner, and we work as partners. I personally don't want any more money out of those companies for any reason. I like it can even go down a little bit depending on how my plug in there goes down. But I want my money to come from one EMS because I'll be earning it there. So that's where more money comes from, this and that and the other. But he's the same as I am. Unless we just have to, we don't want to mess with anybody's money. So we try to keep it strengths and weaknesses. When you look at things as strengths and weaknesses, hey, we're moving you to your strengths, which is exactly what's happening with me. It happened with one of my cohorts earlier last year. Just move from a weakness to a strength.
Would you say that he's your Tyler Durden?
No, Phil's my Tyler Durden. Thank you very much. I just Googled something good on you, but you.